In today's video, we're going to be doing a 100-hour review. Well, it's actually a 105.9-hour review on my 2025R. I've had this tractor since August, and I've already put 106 hours on it essentially. My previous 1025R I had for almost a year and put just a couple hours less than that on it. So I've put a lot more hours on this one a lot quicker. Most of that's been from doing all my side work. Actually, probably only about 10 hours of the entire thing is at my own house. But I wanted to go through the good and the bad and the ugly and let you know my experience with this one so far. So let's get started. So there you go. It literally just turned 106 hours as I pulled it into the garage. So this is a 2023 2025R. And again, my last tractor was a 1025R. It was a 2022 1025R. Murphy's helping me do my review. Okay, so first of all, problems. The reality is I really haven't had any problems with this tractor. It has not had to go back to the dealership for any warranty work. It's not had to be repaired as of yet. I have shown you a couple of little minor things like the boot coming off the four-wheel drive, but that's normal stuff, off the front axle, front drive shaft, that's it. And having to put it back on. But other than that, this tractor has not had any service problems, which is quite different than my 1025R. My 1025R, and what really prompted me to trade up into the 2025, had a lot of warranty issues. Some of them caused by the dealer, not fixing it right the first time. But in less than a year of ownership of that tractor, the dealership had it for about 6 weeks. I had the neutral safety switch leak oil through it and go bad. The transmission leaked oil and had to go in, and then when it came back it leaked worse and it went in and had to go back again. Had to do that twice. And I had the fuel gauge was inaccurate. At a quarter of a tank it would run out of fuel. I had rust that built up inside of the filler neck on the fuel tank and had to be replaced. And I can't even remember what else. I do not think that reflects on John Deere, and it did not obviously turn me off on John Deere, because here we go, I bought another one. I think it was that particular individual machine. For whatever reason, it just had its issues. It happens sometimes. It's no different than a lemon law car. But it ended up working to my benefit because I was able to trade up to the 2025 and make out pretty well in the deal. So what do I love about the 2025R, or what's different? First of all, I like the fact that I sit up higher, the ground clearance. My 1025, when I traded it in, the bottom of the rear end was gouged from me hitting rocks and stuff out in the woods doing logs, just because of ground clearance. That's the only reason. So far, I have not bottomed this tractor out with the extra height. Now, most of that height comes from larger tires. So it's really not that much larger of a frame of a tractor, but the tires are taller, and that works out better. So that's a real big positive to me. The larger tires in the rear cause this tractor to be much more stable than the 1025R, because I was able to get more ballast in them. So a lot of situations where the 1025 felt a little less stable to me, even with my suitcase weights on the back, I don't find that with this one. I pretty rarely put my suitcase weights even on this one, and I'm able to, even though you shouldn't, I'm able to run that loader way up above those headlights with loads and feel much more stable and confident on this tractor than I did my 1025R. Okay, So, 1025 to 2025, I find this tractor to be, I feel more confident and sure-footed because of the size of the tires and the way it's designed. I am more comfortable on this tractor in doing some things that I really shouldn't be doing with a tractor. I did a video last week showing me going down a pretty good 15-degree slope to the side and probably about a 20 to 30-degree slope straight up and down, and the tractor did really, really well on it. Because it's a heavier machine and because it has more ballast in the rear wheels, when I used to go down steeper hills with my 1025R, it tended to slide on me. I felt like I was skiing sometimes. Now, that being said, with this one, if I'm going down a hill and I have some stuff in the bucket or something like that, if I don't put it in four-wheel drive, it does sled a little on the rear wheels. So I do have to remember to put it in four-wheel drive when I do that, which isn't a big deal. The specs are just a little bit better on this as far as lifting and stuff like that. I've seen it. There are some things I'm going to be doing to it to make that even better, which we'll talk about in a minute. So let's talk about upgrades I've made to it that I like or don't like. Actually, I can't think of anything that I don't like. Okay, so let's talk about the tires, as long as we're on tires. I chose the hybrid radials. I had the exact same setup on my 1025R. I find these tires to work great for me. The tractor I had before my 1025R at a different place that I lived was a Kubota. I think it's an L2510, something like that. Anyway, that had the ag tires on it, and those did not get the traction that I get in these, particularly on snow and ice and stuff like that. Plus, they tend not to tear up lawns as much as the ag tires. And I didn't want to go with the turf tires because I do want some traction. I do get this thing into the mud. So that's why I chose those tires. I don't regret it. Again, my second set. And if I bought a new tractor, I would do it again. They would work well. I added 2-inch spacers to this tractor to widen the rear end. I do feel like it was much less stable without them, to the point where it got me nervous in some situations, and I don't have that problem any longer. With that being said, I almost am too confident on the tractor because it almost doesn't scare me most of the time, and that kind of worries me. But here's what I will tell you. I ran into my dealer at one of the local fairs we went to, and I was telling them about how this tractor should ship with the spacers, and they told me that John Deere does not recommend, nor do they want spacers on this tractor. As a matter of fact, it could affect my warranty. So what they told me was, if I have to bring this in for warranty work, to remove the rear wheel spacers before you bring it in. I don't understand it, but that's what John Deere says. So just know that going in. The quick hitch is off my 1025. I just kept it. The hydraulic top link was off my 1025R as well. I just kept it and switched it out. You guys have seen hopefully my video on installing the Summit setup on this, where I added an extra set of controls. And in a video coming up soon, you're going to see measuring and then installing the hydraulic side, or the hydraulic adjustment arm for the side here. I don't even remember what it's called right now, but so that I can control from the seat when I'm running like box blade or stuff, doing driveways, to put swales in, stuff like that. I'm going to be adding that soon, which is going to use that extra set of valves that I put on there. So the guards around the lights actually came right off my 1025 and I put on there, and I will tell you that they have saved the lights on this tractor a couple of times already, just like they did on my 1025. I highly recommend them. They're very inexpensive. I think I bought these on eBay. They're pretty inexpensive. So I do recommend putting those on the tractor as well. Okay, so let's start with the Summit hydraulic set. I have not, this is my second tractor these have been on, and I absolutely love them. I am going to be changing all of the hoses and redesigning how I do it, which I'll show you in another video, but we're not doing that yet. I chose to put the lights up higher this time. I found a bracket that enables me to, and I show you that in another video, that enables me to have them up out of the way. I can still fold the ROPS down because I left enough wire, and I ran the wires inside the ROPS so they're not around, but I have those on independent switches. Now, the only thing that I wish I had done is I wired them directly to there's a wire, and on this tractor it's on this side, and I think on the 1025 it was on this side, but that wire, which is where my lights tie in, is tied right into the light switch. And it gets power when you turn the lights all the way on so that you have your side lights or your fender lights working. I do wish, and I may rewire this just so that I can run those independently without all the rest of the lights on if I want to. But that's just a personal preference thing. So I do love that. We already talked about the light guards. My mirrors, I absolutely love these mirrors. I like that they're more compact this way. I do have the brackets that extend them up and stuff, but I find this to be much better for me. You know, having the mirrors there. I have a level gauge right underneath the mirror, so I can tell where I'm at with pitch or roll to the side. Now, I will say that I can tell. I don't really need that gauge to know when I'm pushing my luck. Okay, I absolutely still love my 511 line guard. Like I showed you in the video when I installed it, this tractor actually came with a metal guard, but by adding this, I was able to add the solid position for the third function lines. Those haven't moved, those haven't come undone. With the setup that I used, or with the original Summit setup where it's round and it bolts onto the 1025, it used to spin on me and move. So that's much more solid, so I do like that better. I do love the and I don't remember what the heck they call it, but I do love the bolt-on attachment there. I use it all the time to tie down the tractor. I also have a hook that I put in the receiver hitch to drag logs and stuff, which works out really, really well. Okay, when I first got this, I was very concerned about how the loader lines go now up to the single point, because they're just steel lines and they're right out in the open. With that being said, I have yet to have a problem to come anywhere near them. So it hasn't been a problem so far. Hopefully it doesn't become one. I was concerned that they'd be vulnerable being out there. I like the upgraded LED headlights. I added them on my other tractor, but they weren't as good as the factory ones that came with it. I actually like where the toolbox is located. It is hard to get in, it is small. I know a lot of people complain about it, but it's, to me, stays much more protected down there than it did when it was up there. So far, I haven't had any problems with any of the hydraulic lines on the front of this. I can tell you on my 1025 that I bent a couple of them, but that was me abusing the tractor, not the tractor's fault. So on the 2023, and this goes for the 1025R as well, they added the single point connector for the loader. I really like it, except one thing I don't like is it's very hard to get the side panel off without scratching it. Yes, they put foam in there and stuff, but it's just really tight, and I do have some scratches behind it from taking the side covers off and putting them back on again. So that's one negative I find about that. My third function kit I added right there. That's actually a bracket that I customized, not the one that came with Summit. And I do really like it. Same with the parking brake. The parking brake has changed designs on both tractors as of 2023. I like the location much, much better. However, this handle gets really dirty, and I know for most that doesn't matter, but I try to keep my tractor clean. You can't tell right now, and it spins a little. If you can see, it doesn't stay locked in, and I haven't really played with that yet to figure out if I can do that, but I don't like that as well. The other thing that I find is the best way to put this brake on and off is to hold down the foot brake. Because the old design had the handle down here and you had to hold the foot brake down, it was much easier to... So with this, even though it's independent, it works independent, the easiest way to put this brake handle on and off, or take the brakes on and off with this, is to hold down the foot pedal just like you did with the other thing. So I have learned that, but I don't like the fact that it spins. I still don't think that there's enough gauges on these. I think that there should be more information available on them, but that's the same for both tractors. It really doesn't matter. Okay, light switch location. There's two things I don't like about this. First of all, my knee hits it all the time when I'm doing, especially when I'm going up and down hills, and it turns the hazards on. I wish this was in a different place. The other thing I don't like about this is I wish it had a headlight only position without the extra side lights and no hazards, which it doesn't. So you've either got your hazards and your headlights, or your headlights and your side lights. So I wish it had one more position. Now that's not just this tractor, that's a 1025R, that's a 1025R as well. That's a John Deere thing, not a this model thing. I do like, as far as working on it, that on this tractor, and I do not know if they changed this on the 1025 for this year or not, but that the footboard is individual sections and not one large section. So when you're working on it, you don't have to take the whole thing off, and it's easier to get on and off. That was a pain in the neck on my 1025 when I was doing things, having to take that whole thing apart. So I do like that a lot better. I like the controls being up higher. I like the PTO lever being up here instead of down below like it is on the 1025s. Now, right now, of course, it's moving smoothly, but I do find sometimes this is hard to switch locations. I honestly, not that it's that big of a deal, it's personal preference. I wish that the fuel gauge was electronic and was up in the dash. I find that I forget to look at it a lot of times. Now, I have not run this tractor out of fuel, but I've come close because I don't tend to remember to look at it, whereas I look at the dash all the time and would do that. I do not like the way the ROPS folds down. Now, obviously, in this case, it's not John Deere's fault that it's hitting my summit, but you can't put it down when the backhoe's on. And for me, in order to get it in my garage, I have to put it down. I don't have a choice. I don't run my tractor ever with it down. I just think that it's not safe in case I roll. But I don't like the fact that it literally hits like the backhoe arm when I have it down. So I wish this worked a little different. I liked the way it folded down on the 1025 a little better. Now, that being said, I did not have a backhoe for my 1025, so I do not know if it would have had the same problem with the backhoe or not, which it very much well could have. I just don't know. I'm just telling you that this is how I feel about this. This one I haven't really liked since day one. If the 3-point hitch is up all the way, I want to say it'll hit the quick hitch too, trying to get it down. So I just wish it could be a little different. That's all. With that being said, let's talk about the backhoe. I am so impressed with the 260B backhoe on this. In spite of the fact that it's a smaller tractor, in spite of what it's got for horsepower and hydraulic power, that backhoe to me is absolutely amazing. Yes, it takes me a little longer to do some jobs than it would if I had, say, a Mini X, but to have a small excavator is, you're looking at $50,000. It was $9,000, I think it was, to add the backhoe to this tractor. It's real easy to get on and off. I have, it's super quick, so it's not a huge deal. I don't have any problem changing it at all. One thing I don't like, and I'm going to redesign how this works with my Summit kit when I do my lines, is the fact that I can't run my third function when the backhoe's on. And my understanding is that's true also if you have a John Deere third function, because they don't want you to be able to raise and lower your 3-point hitch and cause a problem with the backhoe. Well, unfortunately, there are times when I'm doing wood that I have a backhoe on, I have a grapple, and I want to use my grapple. So I have a design idea in mind. I'll show that to you guys when I do it. Hopefully in another month, I'm going to be doing some hydraulic line upgrades on this, changing some stuff out. But I do truly, if you're going to do any digging at all, I do recommend the backhoe. That's a personal preference. I didn't buy it on the 1025. I didn't think I would need it. And I decided I wanted to get it on the 2025, and it turns out I use it way more than I thought I would. I do a lot more with it. My original plan when I bought the 1025R was I'll just save up my digging jobs and, around the house, because back then I wasn't doing side work, and I'll rent a Mini X. Well, it's just not convenient. The problem is, especially for me where I travel for work, is I don't necessarily have the right time to be able to do that. And so I never did rent a Mini X. Instead, I kind of abused my 1025R with the stump bucket, trying to do things that it just wasn't designed to do. So if you're gonna do any digging projects at all, or you think you're gonna, then consider getting the backhoe when you buy it. So overall, I am very happy with this tractor. The few small things that I've talked about are personal preference more than anything. I don't consider them to be a huge deal. I really don't. So overall, this has been a great tractor. It's been a great choice. Do I think that I would have gone with the larger machine if I was going to just do stuff around my house? I don't know. I don't have a belly mower for this. I think it's too big for me to mow what property I have. Now, that being said, if you have a large, if you have 5-6 acres of grass, this thing with a 60-inch mower on it would be awesome. It's just not what I do. So let's talk about what other things I plan to do this tractor. I've got a list of things that I want to add to it come spring. I'm going to be adding the turbo to it from Hydros Plus. The horsepower and PTO horsepower gain is just incredible with that turbo, and it's a direct bolt on. You don't have to mess with anything or customize it. It bolts right on and then bolts right off, because if it has to go to the dealer for warranty work, I've got to take it back off again and do that. I'm going to be adding the Hydro Plus hydraulic kit to increase the flow on the hydraulics, so that I can get faster actions out of the backhoe and the front end loader. I'm going to also be adding the upgraded cylinders to the front end, to the loader, so that I can lift more, but it also gains you 3 inches of height. I did a job where I had to load a 1-ton dump truck, and this thing was about 3 inches too short. I could get the bucket up and over, but it was hard to dump it. So I think that 3 inches will make all the difference if I have to do something like that again. Plus, I want it to be a little bit stronger and do a little bit better lifting. As I just said, in the next week or so, I'll be doing a video. I'm going to be ordering the hydraulic lift link, so that I can control that from the seat. That would be great. Or that will be great. It'll make my life a lot easier, so I don't have to get off and unscrew that and do that. Anything I can do from the seat makes me happy. Makes my life a lot easier. As you may or may not seen, I shortened my loader controller so that it's a little more hand height. Some people didn't like that. I've gotten very used to it now. And I love it just the way it is. I love the height it's at. It's just right there. And, you know, as I said in my video about it, it was tougher at first because it was harder to move a little bit because you lost a little bit of leverage even just by taking the 2 inches off it. But now that I've gotten used to it, I can run it just like I ran it before, and my arm's not up as high in the air. So I like that a lot. Okay, so I guess now for the $1 million question. Would I buy this tractor again, this model, in a John Deere? And the answer is 100% yes. I would buy this model and the John Deere again. I'm very, very happy with this tractor, and I'm super impressed. I do want to say though, if I was looking for something any larger, horsepower-wise, lifting, stuff like that, I would probably definitely consider a Kubota. I had shown you that I had looked at the next size up, the 2032R, on this tractor, and it goes up to about $53,000. And when I looked at that, I also looked at some of the Kubotas in that size range, and they're much less money. Now, I don't have any intentions of going bigger right now, or ever at this point, that I know of. I think instead I'm going to probably look at adding another piece of equipment down the road. Not sure what that would be yet, a skid steer, mini X, something. But if the side job continues to grow, and I do have a lot of plans for that going forward, then I'll probably add another piece rather than replace this one, because this one served me well. The size is really, really good. I've only had one job where I wish I had the 1025R rather than the 2025R, but a lot of my jobs, if the tractor was larger, it just wouldn't work. It'd be more of a hindrance than a help. So, yes, I would absolutely buy it again. I appreciate you watching this video and supporting the channel. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you're interested in this content or you're enjoying it. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.